Hey, my name is PolishLynx and welcome to the letter. Let's see what's happening. Actually, let's see what happened in the previous episode. First of all, after leaving their friends an urgent message, Ashton returned to Isabella's apartment. He found the girl already up and about, cooking. Seeing his exhaustion, Isabella reminded him that he should take care of himself first and offered him food. With a muttered thanks, he accepted. Also, Zachary arrived at Salemwell, tired and frazzled. Upon learning that he had come from the Ermengarde mansion that morning, Ashton could only express his relief that he was safe. And amused Zachary teased him for worrying, much to the other man's embarrassment. Also, to Ashton and Isabella's relief, Rebecca later called back. Soon she showed up at Salemwell, looking worse for wear. When the detective asked about it, worried all the redhead could give was a frustrated answer. Fortunately, before the topic turned grim, Isabella stepped in. Isabella saved the day. Alright. Yet even as the cold morning light shifts to warm hues of the late afternoon and eventually night, none of it still makes a fucking damn sense. Darkness has fallen, but we're still nowhere near figuring things out. If anything, we're far more at a loss than we've ever been before we even started this. The next thing I know, frustration rears its ugly head and the sheets of paper I've been holding smacks the table harder than I've intended. The sound of it echoes loudly in the small room and everyone simply falls silent. Along with it is a release of another long-held breath. Perhaps the 100th since this morning.
We aren't getting anywhere at this rate.
Don't just drop it. There must be something in this we aren't seeing yet.
It's an odd thing to hear from her. The very words I've been telling myself every single time I find myself facing a dead end. We can use a little of the optimism right now, I guess.
I know, but what are we supposed to be looking at here in the first place?
Well, you already looked through those files. You're the one that picked it out last night, right?
All of them? I'm pretty sure every person we've checked in there isn't necessarily involved. One client possibly died of old age. Remember, you found that dumb paper.
Not so dumb if it can kill all of us.
Very funny, Z-Man. Anyway, like I said, you discovered that paper right before the open house. No one else was allowed inside during that time. It's too broad of a scope if we include every single person. In fact, the only notable ones are C and Jean-Marie.
But if we're going to include them in the count, shouldn't there have been more than enough people to end this fucking curse already? How does this thing even work?
Yeah, okay. They went in and out of this place. But no, you still don't get it. What I'm trying to say about those clients is...
Shouldn't we look into the mansion too? That's where the letter came from. That's where she came from. Maybe it's just as the professor says.
He did tell me there might be more to this than what I might be thinking.
Yeah. I mean, look at all this stuff Rebecca brought with her. Apparently our teachers have been lying to us all these years. So who knows?
Hey, now don't blame us. Blame the bloody books they wrote.
Quietly, Isabella reaches for one of the papers Rebecca has brought with her and carefully inspects the words printed on the page. A copy of an old newsprint from even before the city has been founded. Her eyes narrows with each line it passes, but lingers at the illustration of the noble woman's servant.
Why do they have to keep this in the restricted section?
Rebecca merely shrugs at her inquiry, but her own annoyance seeps through her answer.
How should I know? I wasn't even aware we have archives that go as far back as this. This is before the city was even founded. As a matter of fact, if it weren't for Andrew's help, I wouldn't have gotten my hands on any of it. Maybe they didn't think it would be important to talk about it. After all, this is more Anselm's than ours.
That or some old bugger's hiding something.
Why else would this tell a completely different story? Revising what's written seems as useless endeavor on its own when you have nothing to gain from it. But this might as well mean that what happened in that mansion years ago also equates into all of this. And the letter Isabella found? It's at the heart of it. Then why and the why and the how is what we're missing here. If I'm going to go by what Andrew told Zach, the connection between the letter and the mentioned curse may run deeper than what we've initially thought. We won't be able to figure this out without looking into the other fact. How do I... The mansion is a private property now, can't just what's in there. I'd rather die before I even think of begging Try to let me in and investigate the place. One thing's very clear after these last 2 days, however. We're not safe anywhere and I have to act fast. If I want to keep my own friends alive, we can't keep running away. Sooner or later, she will get us. Before that happens, I have to put an end to this. Sighing, I stand up and stretch out the kinks in my back. After several hours of sitting, we've been at this for far too long. A break is needed. Time to let everything to sink in, or else we'll all burn out. I know I will, and it's another thing I cannot happen when they are all counting on me like this. All but I've spoken is in their eyes as they look up at me, waiting.
We've been at this since morning. We should take a break for a few...
The rest of it never makes it out of my mouth as something heavy and grating sounds from the far end of the room. A harsh booming noise rending through the eardrums of everyone in the room. All at once, the 3 of them are on their feet, while I quickly palm for my gun on the table. However, before I can pull it up and remove the safety, the whole racket stops. Stillness descends in the room, and amidst the sudden hush, the 4 of us exchange anxious glances. So much for a break.
Ashton, that might be...
Gather everything.
No questions asked. They waste no time getting to work, picking up the documents we've been reading through. Even Isabella is unusually silent as she gathers everything in her arms, her own movements sharp and precise, a deep furrow in her brow. There is fear, but something harder and urgent overshadows it. But the moment does last. Before we can even finish, another noise ups the tension, really gripping the place. Soon the lights go out and the wardrobe at the end of the room rattles as if something inside begs for freedom. Cautiously, eyes glued to it, I take a step forward and release the lock from my gun. I'm not a trigger-happy person, I'm not even sure if this will work on a ghost. But right now, its smooth surface against my palm with the trigger on my finger provides the close thing I have to leave as I approach the closet.
Ashton, what are you doing?
I don't think that's a good idea. We should just...
Worried as they all are, they immediately stop at the sight of slight raise of my hand. But the edge is there, while they all huddle in the space between the door and the room. In case this goes south, whatever I find inside, they have enough time and space to run from their position. In 2 deep breaths, I crossed the room and stood in front of the closet. Whatever is inside has yet to stop thrashing. Instead, it has now moved to banging at the door, louder and louder the longer I dally. Another shallow breath. I glance at my companions. I nod. Something creaks. Then, in the next moment, I'm grasping at the handles and swing the doors wide open to reveal... nothing. Right away, I part the clothes hanging on it and still none. No ghost. No woman. Not a single trace of whoever's inside. Confused, I glance back towards my companions only to see them mirroring the same expression on my face. The noise has finally stopped, but I'm quite sure this is my imagination. Or maybe it is, and I'm just too strung up that my head's not making things up. Whatever the case is, we need to get out of here as soon as possible. This only confirms we aren't safe anywhere. Without bothering to close it, I move back, ready to leave, adrenaline now coursing through every vein in my body. The next thing I'm barking orders and...
We should go. Everyone, we need to...
I'm sent sprawling on my back as something cold catches my ankle and yanks. Oh, for fuck's sake. The resulting fall knocks the wind out of me. Pain racks my whole spine and the back of my head as it collides against the floor with force enough to dislodge my own brain from my skull. It won't last before stars fade from my vision. And then, I sense it. Cold tendrils twisting around my ankles, the smell of vile rot assaulting my nose eating sickening. A foul smell draining every feeling in my body. Even her horrid laughter, still as unpleasant and vicious as the last time I heard it, reaches my ears, my eyes snap open. Perhaps it's just inexperience. Yo! Or maybe my mind's still attempting to comprehend this. Regardless, the minute my eyes land on her, the whole of my body freezes, the gun in my hand turns useless as my grip on it slackens. It's in the manner her gaze bores on me, I'll say. The look of utter hatred and malice, I've seen it loads of times. From suspects, mostly murderers who never regretted their actions despite being caught, this is the face of someone who can no longer reason with. And I know, the moment she laughs again and starts dragging me towards her, it's only going to be the...
Ashton! Snap out of it!
No. I can't die here. Not yet! The haze fades from my mind and the instinct kicks in, and then and there.
Everyone out! Get out! Get out of here!
With one powerful tug, I yank my foot out of her grip and scramble back to my feet, ignoring the piercing wails she fills the room with. With the span of a second, I'm gunning for the door, grabbing the wrist of the first man my hand can reach and leading everyone out. Into the hallway. Down the flight of steps. And right inside my car. I waste no time flooring on the gas pedal the second the last person closes the door behind them, and in a short while I'm driving out of the Salwell. I don't even entertain the thought of winding down just yet, even as the last one of the woman's painful cries fade in the night. Holy shit. I mean, I knew this bitch could, like, move around places, but who would have thought she would arrive at the house? At Isabella's house. How dare she? A dreary downpour starts of the Monday. I'm typing about it. Alright, although it doesn't last for more than an hour. The dark clouds lift just after the sun peaks over the horizon. Brief as it is, the rain has significantly dampened the park's usual cherry vibe. Orange is a glimpse of the mark the start of another bad week. An arrest gone wrong, another investigation leading to a dead end, or some truly fucked up shit being called in. Like that one time I was dispatched to a scene where a guy gouged his own eyeball out and almost ate it. Whoa. Was a few chews away from swallowing it, in fact, lost my dinner that day.
Fun times.
Of course, I doubt anything can top getting cursed by a damn chain letter of all things. This is the sort of stupid thing people pass along as a prank through emails and text messages, for fuck's sake. A ghost chasing after you just puts the icing on that cake. So far, all we've done is run, snoop about, read stuff, and run again. It frustrates me to no end how we're still no closer to an answer. Even my car reflects the state my mind is in. Photocopies of documents litter every available surface, scattered all over the place, spilling from the passenger side and into the backseat, making an entire mess of what little space there is. Not the time any better. My last shower was 24 hours ago, I haven't slept at all, and my last meal was that chocolate porridge thing Isabella offered. The way I am now, I'll definitely get a scolding. Rebecca will definitely give me an earful and tell me to take care of myself better, say that I'm killing myself on the job. I can already hear Isabel complaining how dark the bags under my eyes are getting, and about how I reckon how I need to shower pronto.
I can rest easy when this is all over.
It's not that I can't feel the pang of hunger. With that woman chasing after you, it's difficult not to feel anything other than horror. The rush of adrenaline coursing through my veins in my desperation to survive. In fact, I can still sense the ghost of her touch from last night. Her bony digits would tightly round my ankle and that horrid smile she has on her as she pulls me closer. The memory is enough to send a shiver up my spine and make me antsy. Perhaps the only thing comforting about this is the sight of my gun nearby. From my dashboard, sunlight glints off Ophelia's surface. Normally keep it hidden in a compartment. Luxury police regulations only allows authorized people to carry firearms, and even those are limited. I do have that authorization. but I never really saw the need for its use, when the standard issue tasers are more than good enough to incapacitate anyone. If not, I can always throw them on their back. Those judo lessons did not force me to get as kick as it uses to. Only goes for, well, all of those will probably yield the same result. They're all useless. I might as well use a stick. However, it's the feeling of ease I'm after, or what little of it I can gather from it. The awareness that I, at least, have something to protect myself with, in case the things go wrong. That I can still protect the people who are still depending on me despite the missteps I've taken. It does take the edge off, the feeling that your whole body has been strained far beyond its capacity. Frankly, I am already running out of steam. The only thing pushing me right now is knowing someone's still depending on me. A stretch is still in order, for I've been sitting here since last night. Soon I step out from my car, closing behind me with a toot as I take in my surroundings. The rain did wonders. The morning air feels crisper and cooler than it has ever been in days. For once, the weather seems to be taking a turn for the normal. Looks but normal. In the distance, beyond the buildings lining the horizon, dark clouds are blowing in.
A storm might be due this evening, give or take.
A shame for the people looking forward to the Halloween night. Tonight. I'm just not sure whether this is something I can look forward to as well. Still, I bask in the change it brings. Inhale, exhale, breathing in, taking the pain, the peace, as if it will be my last. But as with all the good things, the quiet shortly comes to an end. Not necessarily a bad end. The chatter reaches my ears first, halting my movements. Sure enough, when I glance up, I find them. Zach, Rebecca, and Isabella, just as they've entered the park grounds, bags of convenience store food in hand. After last night's flight from Sunwell, we elected to stay the night here, unsure if our own homes would still be safe. Normally, we'd all be adverse to an idea of spending the night outside like this, but panic and distress has tainted the decision. It's not like any of us has gotten an ounce of sleep anyway, on the off chance one of us did. It only lasted but a second, or it's a fitful one. But looking at them right now, from afar, it's easy to mistake them for just a group of friends on a day out. Isabella is gesturing widely with her arms as she talks. Something funny or amusing, probably because it's soon followed by Zach's booming laughter and Rebecca's giggles. Their voices fill the atmosphere with lighter, temporarily easing off the disheartening mood. It's easy to pretend we're not knee-deep in a life and death situation the way they're acting now. If anything, it's only their appearance that betrays that mask. Slightly disheveled, bags under their eyes, an exhausted curve in their shoulders, and dragging footsteps. But the closer they get, the more obvious these signs are to the naked eye. Zach tosses an energy drink my way the moment the distance allows it. Isabella hands me the other bag she's holding before seating herself on the edge of the fountain. The scent of warm food immediately wafts from the bag when I open it, carried further by a passing breeze. Whatever sweet sauce they drizzled over this pork wannabe, it smells heavenly. Hell, even the sour-looking vegetables seem appetizing. Despite myself without even checking exactly what this is, hunger swiftly takes over every rational thought. I dig in without waiting for them to start. The rest of them appear to be of the same mind too, so enough they also start with theirs. No casual talk while we fill our empty stomachs. Exhausted as we all are, food is something we can't forgo. Starvation does the thinking, wakens the body. If we are to survive this, we're gonna have to take care of ourselves first. In a matter of minutes, we're done and dumping the empty cartons on a nearby waste bin. Along with it is the shift in the mood. Back to dismal, back to the problem at hand. The comfortable atmosphere from minutes ago was nice while it lasted. Admittedly, I've missed these kinds of moments between us. We never had the chance. I'm always busy on some project or work. The things we've taken for granted, now we're realizing how valuable they are. The world has an awful sense of humor. While the one we just had is short-lived, it's another thing I want to look forward to. If we ever free ourselves from this damn curse, I'd like to believe there is a way. For now we had focused back on the present. This. Dead people. The letter. The curse. It's not simple to bring this up, but necessary.
What now? Where do we go from here?
It's not a question directed at anyone in particular. But they all look to me as if my face has all the answers in the world. I used to think so, back when I was at the top of my game and I'm still sure of everything. Now there's just uncertainty sealing whatever decision I come up with. At some point, logic has simply stopped working here and we've started grasping at straws. Along with exhaustion, fatigue and stress, we have enough kindling to get a fire burning. The not so pleasant kind of fire.
Well, first, we can't just stay here. That much is obvious.
But we can't just keep running like this either, Becca. Sooner or later, she'll...
As if we have a choice. We can't even go back to our own homes because that thing might get us.
I think first of all, let's not listen to Rebecca.
No, we're safe. But dying is the last thing I want to do right now, Isabella. Not to a stupid chain letter you were too gullible to pick up, bring with you, and show to everyone.
I didn't do it on purpose. Becca, had I known, I wouldn't have...
Hey, you two. None of us want to die to this. Just calm down. We ain't getting anywhere shouting at each other.
Whose side are you on, Zachary?
No one's. But we can't just say it's her fault. She did warn us not to open it. And both you and Ashton...
That doesn't exempt her from any blame. She's still largely responsible for it.
And you're not?
I didn't say that! Do you really think I don't blame myself for this as well?
I tried to warn all of you. None of you listened. Now you're blaming me for something I kept telling you guys since day one? You're just as responsible for this as I am.
So now you're throwing it back at us? We wouldn't even be having this problem if you're...
Well, you two cut it out! This ain't the place for I don't know, petty squabbles!
If you don't want to get caught in it, then stay out of this, Zachary.
Oh no, Zach. Don't stop her. Let her say it. I'm sure she has plenty more to say. If I didn't know any better, she's already...
Already what? You want me to say it? Out loud? That I find you in this whole thing?
All right, that's enough! Everyone, shut up!
They all falter to silence at my words and an awkward, stifling mood descends between us. I don't mean to shout, to snap at them, to add to that kindling, not in a moment when and time and where she might get one of us. We're all in the same boat, yet here we are playing the blame game. Little by little we're falling apart, caving into the pressure, to the bleak situation we're trapped in. Did it goes mean for this to happen, to divide each of so she can pick us off one by one right after? Who knows? Anything is possible now if her kind can exist. With the fire burning between us rising as high as it does now, I'm afraid. Definitely afraid that the possibility might come sooner that I can figure all of this out. Fact, I still can't think straight. I can't even believe the next words come out of my own mouth, that out of everyone I had to be the one saying this to them. This is more their forte than mine, keeping the peace. Placating everyone while I unintentionally aggravate people with badly chosen words. Handy for how fast the tables have been turned after just one unfortunate incident. How am I even supposed to cope?
If we all want to get out of this mess in one piece, we're gonna have to cool our heads first.
Especially the pink hair. For that's something she can't do, let's face it. Before my own temper flares, I walk away and slide back into my car. If draw slams with more force than needed, I'd like to blame it on the pent-up anger boiling up in me. I'm not even sure what or who I am angry at. The ghosts, at them, or maybe at myself for being this useless. Because despite none of them saying it, I know, goddammit, they are still counting on me. In spite of my failures or every harsh word I've uttered or how unbearable I can be as a friend. It's there when the tension after a garment fan breaks, and one by one they follow me and get in the car. It's in a concerned glance they shoot my way when I start the engine without a word and drive off. It's in their silence, a heavy gift, their unwavering trust. Yet it's one I'm more willing to carry. Even for my own exhaustion, if only to keep them safe. In this city of 68,000 strangers, they're the only ones I have left. For in all seriousness, a good rest is still our best bet for now. Figure with an exhausted brain is most as good as running around in circles. We might as well just throw ourselves at that ghost and be done with this. The local Irish pub may not be the best place to hang around when one hasn't slept a wink or you're stressed. More often than not, it's loud. Sometimes the music played by drunkards grates the ears and the whole place smells like piss on a bad day. All in all, it's very definition of the last place I'll hang around after a wakeful night, but it's safe. Or as safe as it can be with G's security watching the place. Makes it easy to find help, in case you find yourself in a tight spot. The place being owned by a person I've implicitly placed my trust on provides some semblance of comfort too. Gregor, bartender G or just G to his regular patrons, might be rough around the edges. Sometimes a bit too gruff for a man serving drinks behind the counter, but he belongs to the good folk of this city. If there's anyone in this place I can rely on to look after people important to me, it's probably him. He means well, surprisingly, despite his surly demeanor. Cares to some extent for people like he will likely only see once or twice a week or in a bad day. No best job in the world, in my opinion, but that's exactly it, isn't it? In wine, there's truth. Alcohol, in this case. It loosens the tongue, forces one to let his higher guard down. Whatever inhibitions anyone has, it all flies straight out the window after a few glasses. It has made him observant too. Always has one or two things to say about someone or something. Most of the time it's me. Oh pish, opinionated ass. But God knows how many times I've asked for his help when I met with a dead end in a case or I'm in trouble. This time it's no different. As expected, the moment we show up, he is kind enough to offer us a room at the back of his shop. Single look at my face, I don't even need to say anything, and the next thing we know, he's leading us in. No questions asked. Maybe it's also for this reason why I found myself drifting towards his station hours later, after having gotten that much needed shut-eye. Newly washed drinking glasses and tumblers lined the counter surface when I entered the room. Behind the bar, G is busy wiping each of them clean, likely prepping it for tonight's use. Briefly, he glances up at me, once I claim one of the empty stools and grab a rocks glass sitting closest to my elbow. Turning it absent-mindedly in my palm just to give my hands a bite while my brain is busy, still trying to make sense of everything. Even at the tower, with only a few patrons spilling about, this place still smells strongly of liquor. Honestly, I've never grown fond of it. Regardless of how many times I've made a trip or sat here, on the same spot just talking with the old man. I have never been fond of drinking in the first place. Yet oddly it's the nasty odor of a brewery that helps clear the mind this time. Along with the lack of the establishment's usual hubbub and the occasional clinking of glasses. Even more bizarre is that, through my lack of words, G doesn't say anything. Although it's clear from the way his mouth has curved up in a tight frown that he has questions. A bucket load of it, he wants to keep it shut. Instead, he simply focuses back on his work. Rinse, wipe, stash away, repeat, going through motions with such familiarity it's almost a trance. Watching his precise movements quietly like this, with these thoughts swimming inside my head, it's easy to lose track of everything around me. One solid lead on this, one possible way to sort this out, but won't work. Especially if my assumption is correct, and that the reason Zach was there yesterday morning was because of the girls. Something must have happened there for him to see the need to visit the place that morning. What if the couple has fallen victim to the curse too? It doesn't fall outside the realm of possibility. I've been so biased, not even thinking that they might be in danger as well. But during the open house with Isabella, they might have seen the letter and... Fuck.
Stupid, stupid, stupid. Some fucking detective I am.
That's likely the moment when Cooper saw it. If the logic calls, I need to hurry there right away. I mean, if there are answers anywhere, it would be there. It should be there, where all of this fucking mess started. It's not only my life on the line here, there are others. What happened to us, I won't wish on anyone else, no matter how much I love them. of how complicated all of this has suddenly become. The letter, the woman, the mansion, and now there are the voices lacing venom inside every crevice in my head. Murmurs that jeer, scoof, and deride whenever an opportunity presents itself.
It's because you didn't listen.
It's all your fault. Why won't you believe me?
Remind of what I failed to do and who I failed. At some point they all begin to blur together, twining and coiling, ever horrid image and memory of her seeking the forefront of my mind. No matter how much I refuse to remember the fear I felt then, to push it as far back as I can, the visions come to me like a deluge. But before I know it, before I can drone, another voice pulls me out of it.
You doing good there, boy?
His hand is on my shoulders, gripping tightly and giving me a light shake. There's a relief in his face when I finally look up at him, although his frown appears more distinct than the concern in his eyes. It's deeper now, marred with worry and agitation. He does let go when I offer him a small nod, but the furrow between his eyebrows never leaves the face. He always has the knack for the people, after all, even someone who can be asked close to for distance like me. In all the time I've spent in the force, there's only one other person who's as keen as this old guy, the chief. Yeah, it's not like he looks the same, totally. Funny and weird to some degree. I pointed out to him so many times before how much they look alike, only for the observation to be brushed off with a vehement tone. I've never brought it up again after the third time, out of respect for the guy. Whatever this is, clearly something he doesn't want to talk about. Why push, right? However, during times like this, it's impossible for the thoughts not to come up. Kevin has the glare down pat. Under his wordless scrutiny, I feel like a tame Rocky again.
You're looking a bit green. Sure you got plenty of rest back there? You were only out for an hour or two. Wouldn't hurt to try and get some sleep. I'll keep an eye out.
No need. Don't worry about me. I won't be able to get some sleep anyway.
Not with her face still a clear picture in my head, no.
Dad, heard that from you before. Not buying it. What's the story this time? This as bad as that case with the guy who ate his own eyeball?
I wish it were. Jesus, stop reminding me. I hated that case. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you get a kick out of telling people about it.
It's useful, you know, for blokes who don't know their limits. Sends them right out the door after I start with a description. Or was it the part when the poor schmuck gouged his eyes out? Nasty, awful, icky stuff, and it gets the job done. Like I said, useful. Don't even need to call security these days if I want to kick someone out.
Well, saving money, it's definitely for that.
Anyway, pretty sure that pales in comparison to whatever this is now. I haven't seen you this stressed out since they closed that case. The one from 10 years ago, with your professor friend?
Abigail and her team weren't able to solve that one, G. No one has been able to. It just went cold.
Same difference. But what do I know, eh? I just serve drinks, listen to people's problems and their whining, then make sure they get home safe afterwards. Thing is, I'm also not blind, kiddo. And you can bet your ass I can tell when a person's about to fall apart.
What? Is this some form of therapy from you? Are you going to offer me free drinks now?
Really? I can use some right now. Something to numb the senses. But when has that helped anyone?
In your dreams, kid. Last time someone gave you the hard stuff, your photographer friend had to haul you out of this place almost half naked.
Hey, I can handle my liquor when I put my mind to it.
Not from what I've seen, nope. Besides, you usually avoid drinking. Either way, it's out of the equation. And when booze no longer counts, we just talk. So, talk. It's not like anyone within earshot will care. That chap over there only wants his cricket matches.
I doubt you believe it, G.
I've heard worse stuff. Try me.
You know that mansion down at Anslem?
Yeah, who doesn't? You live in this town long enough, it's impossible not to hear a thing or two about it. Bloody locals.
Well, my friend found a primitive version of a chain letter in there. Now that we've seen it, we're cursed.
A beat passes. For a moment, G stands there, unmoving. His hand stops short of placing the glass he's been wiping her back to a rack on his left. All while he stares me with eyes that are nothing short of scrutinizing. He probably assumes I'm joking. Who wouldn't? Not a week ago I've been put in the same position. Even now, in spite of the things I've seen and heard, it simply won't sink in. Or maybe this is just desperation creeping, the idea that I may not be able to find a way out of this. What on records is for people who hasn't experienced what I'm going through, this will merely sound like an awful Halloween prank.
It's not a prank.
This must have been what Isabel felt the whole time we made fun of her that day.
This isn't a prank! I saw something!
Now it's too late. We are stuck in a never-ending nightmare, where the only way out might be death. And like I've expected, G's reaction to it, an amused laughter. It booms throughout the whole pub after a long bout of silence, like I've just told him a particularly funny joke.
Okay. Good one, kid. You don't want to spill. No one's forcing you. Seriously, though. Good one.
Although I want to be angry with him, I can't find it in myself. Can't even master the energy for a skull or a glare. Nothing but aches of my own medicine to temper the annoyance bubbling up in me, I suppose. In the end, echoing her words is the best I can do.
It's not a joke.
Yeah, alright, good luck with that. You're on your own. Here I thought you didn't have an ounce of humor in that body. Guess I'm wrong.
He shakes his head, lets out another chuckle before turning to his task. By now, almost half of the glasses have been put away. The only ones remaining are the smaller kind used for shots and stamped ones for cocktails. Despite being busy with his task, his amusement does not entirely disappear from his face. He keeps talking, as if I'm simply another customer he entertains with his stories. But we both know it's more than that, if the wistful expression of him says anything.
Man, can't believe you're the same rookie who walked in here almost a decade ago. Too smart for his own good, that boy. Has always been 2 steps ahead of things. Now he's here, sulking.
I must have screwed up somewhere then.
I must have screwed up a lot. For a thing to suddenly shift like this, for me to become a mere shadow of the person I used to be.
No, I don't think so. This one, screwed up? Not by a mile. It's too early to say. You've still got several years ahead of you, Holmes. Take it easy. But some things change, eh? It has been years, and you were a kid back then. You know, the sort that's a bit unsure, making all the horrible decisions in life he'd eventually be embarrassed to talk about.
You never stop calling me kid, though.
Well, you still are. It's just that this time, you're sure of who that badge and gun is for. What was it you police types usually say? To protect and serve, yeah?
A significant pause follows at his heels from both us as he lowers its meaning to sing in and spur something in me, stirring a feeling both heavy and forceful, but not completely unwelcome. Familiar. For before I can even clarify what he's trying to imply or gather my thoughts on the matter, G turns away to begin his work on the silver wires. He will need those too, once more of his patrons come in for lunch. Slow and easy. A sharp contrast with this strange herb we've been wading through these past weeks. A fleeting moment, but one I allow myself to wish. If only because of its absence lately, the way things are now, it is almost a gift. So when it all ends with the loud shuffling of foot from the other end hallway, a sigh is all that leads me. There's no need for me to look up to know who it is. Zack threads alone are telling, there is always a way instead of to them, steps that are taken with a lazy cadence. Like he's always trying to make himself smaller, less conspicuous than he actually is. In a place he's unfamiliar with, he stands to linger, stand awkwardly at the side, as if he's all too afraid to break some. That or he's waiting for permission of some kind. Either way, he's never been the kind to barrel headfirst into things or forego courtesy despite appearances. Much like how Rebecca's mother, Henning Bellies, her fiery temperament, For Isabella's rare displays of mercy, it appears that odds will carry out. There has been a lot of those in my life, it seems. More so from the people I've grown closer to over the years. Walking contradictions, we all are. It's a wonder how we ended up as friends in the first place. But maybe that's also exactly why. To some extent, there's still an understanding in there, in knowing that no matter how long you've been together, or how familiar you are with a person's habits, or how many lifetimes there might be for all of you, one can never fully know a person. Sometimes it works because they merely choose to stay. Sometimes it's as simple as someone extending a hand first for an apology, regardless of every hurtful word said.
Hey, Ash?
This time I glanced at him briefly, going in the mood. Not because reconciliation's an issue for me. Between us it never will be. But somehow this is another thing I'm all too afraid to see crumble in front of me. One wrong word, if this is going to end in another argument, we might as well stop as early as now. There is another long pause from him, during which he can't seem to figure out what to do with his hand. In the end, he chooses to stab off in his pockets and trains his eyes at the now empty space behind the counter. Without our notice, G has slipped back to the kitchen, leaving only the two of us and everything awkward in the world at the moment. Still, Zach trudges on. I hope don't slip in his voice simply because it's the only thing he knows to do.
Did you, get any sleep?
It's a start, at least. A stiff one, but a start. The least I can offer in return is that rare honesty.
For a few hours, yeah.
Curt, brisk, not an ounce of friendliness in it. In spite of it, Zach takes it as sign. Relief washes over him as his shoulders relax and he releases a tense breath. Soon he's closing the distance he gets put between us and flops onto the chair to my right.
I think the better question is if the dreams are pleasant. And for the record, no.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I get those a lot.
He shifts in his seat, coughs, drums his fingers in color for a short while, then pulls sign. That's it, no apologies. Somehow that short exchange is all we need. The air changes again, much like everything we've known lately. Maybe not for the better, not yet. However, it's less suffocating, with less hostility and resentment, the kind where it's easy to pretend, easy to forget. Not that it's a thing that will happen anytime soon, but one can dream. In a situation where death might come knocking at any time, it's this little hope we cling to. It's these little things which will happen again. I'm not an optimistic person by nature. Hopeful maybe, but never optimistic. If I want to believe there's a way we'll live through this nightmare. It's just funny how it took all of this to spare these kinds of thoughts in me. I can't even remember the last time something like this has occurred to me. For some reason, after seeing one harrowing thing after another, I've simply forgotten.
Why are you suddenly smiling like that?
Huh? Oh, no, I was just thinking about something.
Well, it better be something that'll get us out of this mess.
What makes you think I know how to fix this? Until 2 days ago, I didn't even believe a word you guys have been telling me. Zach, I function better when I'm dealing with homicide cases. Hell, feel free to throw in the usual robbery and missing persons case into the mix. I don't care. Give me a few days and I'll give you a lead. This isn't how I operate. This isn't what I'm good at. For all you know, I might even end up getting us killed. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Well, the fact that you're frustrated but still trying already means something, Ash. Besides, you don't make that face unless you already have an idea. It can't be any worse than this. Maybe.
Maybe.
What's on your mind, Ash?
There really is something about Zeman. Between Rebecca and him, I tend to share with him things I won't normally say to the other. Unlike her, who pushes sometimes with the same intensity as her moods, Zach has a strange tendency to ease people in telling him what he wants to know. Oftentimes the question feels so subtle, it catches me off guard, with less force and more forbearance. After all, out of everyone, he's the most grounded. Really, he's like the older brother I never had, the kind you can depend on when things go sour. The kind you tell things to simply because he will listen, without forcing his own opinions on you.
We still have one more lead we haven't checked. I'm gonna look into it tonight.
It doesn't take him long to put two and two together, and his calm expression abruptly dissolves to worry. The second he realizes what I meant. We've already examined the letter. read through piles of documents. There's really only one we haven't given a once over. Dimension. Curse. Zach may not be the kind to push, but that doesn't mean he agrees with everything that comes out of my mouth. It's his way of keeping me steady and on my feet through the years.
Hold on, didn't you tell me not to go in there? Whatever happened to stay away from Luke Wright?
You're an unarmed civilian, Zach.
And so?
So, I want you to stay here and keep yourself safe. I probably won't take too long, but I don't know what might happen. I'm not even sure if I'll find something in there. G will keep an eye on you guys. If you need anything, if that woman shows up, just holler. He'll help out, no questions asked. You don't even need to explain anything.
He is not willing to concede, not from the manner he grips his knees or a rigid set to his jaw.
I'm going with you. You can't go in there alone, Ash. I heard something. The morning I was there, I heard someone scream and then there was a woman crying, and I don't know what's going on inside that mansion, but I am telling you, you shouldn't face whatever's inside alone.
Before I can stop myself, a heavy breath escapes from my mouth. It's one of those times again, where Zach means all well, but he's completely missing the point I'm trying to make. When things take a turn for this, when he gets in a mood like this, he's almost as headstrong as Isabella. Oh. Save. You will only get in the way. I'd feel better if I don't have to worry about you. To be honest, I do believe the first option is a bit disrespectful. I mean, come on. I mean, it really doesn't sound good. But fuck it. I feel better if I don't have to worry about you. There are only two ways this will end, and that was a good choice. I agree with him and take him with me, or I agree with him and drop the idea altogether. Neither appeals more than the other, especially when we're all desperate for answers and a way out. If all it will take is a little more honesty to make him drop this hair-brained idea, so be it.
Look, man. Bro. Z-Man. Zach. Zachary, listen. I know you only want to help.
Like hell! This ain't just about helping, Ashton! You're throwing yourself in the thick of it, on your own! Was your fall last night really that bad? Did you hit your head hard? I honestly can't tell if you've gone stupid or just plain suicidal.
My head's okay, Zach. But it won't stay that way if we don't do anything about this. Someone has to.
Seriously, this is already a desperate move. The longer we dally, the faster we're losing our options. Do we even have one? Looking at it, this whole business with the ghost seems perfectly set up to drive us into a corner. Either until we lose our mind or she gets us. It's starting to feel as if there isn't escape. We've already become her playthings the second Isabella found the letter. That our lives are in her hands ticks me off big time, but the idea of watching the people I care about die helplessly, more so. They're much safer here than with me. It's a selfish thought, I know, born out of fear. So in case things go awry, the very last thing I want to happen is for Zach to take the fall with me. I already made enough mistakes.
And that means it's just you.
Just me.
Suddenly he climbs up. Of all his actions. The restless shift in his shoulders, his mouth pressing close in a tight line, and how he starts off again in quiet note. It all gives away his real thoughts, long before two words have even made it out of his mouth.
I'm sure you already know about this. Maybe this is you trying to make amends, or whatever. I don't know. You're making your own decisions here. But if something happens to you, it'll be just that. You'll just be another dead body out there. Please, don't do something like this.
Don't worry. I'm not stupid enough to get myself killed. I just want things to go back to normal, Zach.
Another dead air follows. At the heels of that one admission, the meaning of my words too heavy to strike him, instancing us into another rule. Optimism aside, we're both aware that's impossible. We're going to have to deal with the trauma right after, There will be the images, the voice whispering inside our heads, the foreboding feeling. The stench of blood, gore, and death trailing after us. We may survive this, but those things, they will remain in us for a long time. One does not survive something like this without it leaving something new. Just the mere thought of what might come right after makes me dread it. What this has changed in all of us. But I suppose that outcome is more acceptable. The lesser of two evils.
3 hours.
My head snaps up and I turn to him, paused. He's staring at his hands with a thoughtful expression, brows furrowed in deep concentration. Like he's trying to choose the right words to convey what he's about to say.
3 hours? For what?
That's more than enough time to go there, to check things, like you said, and travel back here. If you don't show up here beyond that, I'm going after you.
From his tone, it sounds almost like a warning. I'm sure it's not his intention. But hearing something like that from a person like Zach, I can't help but chuckle and throw a jibe. Despite how dire things are. Just like the old times.
Make that 4.
What? You said you're just gonna check things. Why would you even need that long?
Speed limit? I'm a ranked law enforcement officer, Zach. I'm supposed to set an example.
I so wanna punch you right now.
Of course, Zach never crazed out. In light moments like this, it's just how he is, how we are. Unfortunately, G chooses the next moment to show up. He slams the flat of his palm on the counter and shooting us both a stern look. Although his tone's nothing short of jovial, the disapproval is clear. He's obviously misunderstanding the situation.
Boys, Drummer's nice and all. I used to watch these bloody god-awful afternoon serials with one of my brothers many, many years ago. But listen, I am not having one in my pub, alright? You two want to fight? Go out.
A pregnant pause. Then, without any preamble, Zach and I both snickering at G's glower melts in confusion. When we both show no sign of stopping, he simply shakes his head and turns away. I like to think it's better this way. Better that we part on light terms, so Zach won't have to see every insecurity ever to doubt in me right now. It's enough. The last thing I want him to glimpse is another display of weakness. Not when he still stares at me with the same unnerving confidence in his eyes. When our nerve dies down, before anything can be said further, before I change my mind, I step away from there. Giving Zach's shoulder a quick few pats, mumbling a lame excuse about taking another short nap under my breath. Altogether burning the stray thought that flashed fleetingly in my head. Zach has seen me at my lowest plenty of times. Why does all of it matter now? Alright, let's end the episode, because apparently he took a nap. We'll continue this tomorrow, and I hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you tomorrow as well. Until then, bye bye.